Good evening, everyone, and from India, and a warm good afternoon to all our colleagues joining in from Europe. I'm very excited to welcome you all to the Learning Planet Festival's closing ceremony for us at the Dais, closing all our events. What you see in front of you is a screenshot, a snapshot from our model UN that we had earlier done to showcase how vibrant the entire festival was, and how incredibly the youth led the events throughout the entire week. I'll just begin with telling you what we have in store for today. So today we will be briefly talking about the entire Learning Planet Festival, what the Dice did, along with in this 1 week with the entire team. Along, we will be then hearing from Mr. Edward Stevenett from the Learning Planet team about the entire festival as well. This will be followed by an inspiring, uplifting remarks from our chief guest today, Mr. Nixon Joseph. And then we will be moving to introducing and launching the very exciting Game Changers Awards for the second year, which will set our agenda for the International Youth Day as well until August after this. And then we will be hearing from our jury members, past winners, and finally, we will be having some reflections from our own team, young leaders from our team who have been instrumental in organizing the entire set of events. So I think I'm also very excited. And finally, we will be hearing today from Mr. Francois Teddy, who is the president of the Learning Planet Institute, about how to take what we have accomplished together in this 1 week and what are the next steps. And I think that's again something super exciting. So we are in for an incredible program today, and I thank you and welcome you on behalf of our entire team to today's wonderful program. Now, I'll quickly just talk a little bit about the Learning Planet Festival, and Ed will actually talk in detail about that as well. But I think for us, let me begin by thanking our colleagues from the Learning Planet team for this entire association, which will be completing its first year very soon, and which has taught us, inspired us to celebrate this International Day of Education, which was the entire idea behind the Learning Planet Festival, and with the theme of learning to take care of oneself, others, and the planet. I think I don't need to emphasize why that is important. I think we have all realized it collectively as the whole world in the past couple of years. So for us, celebrating the International Day of Education with the Learning Planet team was an incredible opportunity, and which is why I'm so happy to sort of share with you that as we are concluding the festival today, we got together with 20 partners from around the world who co-created around 8 different events. All the details are being put by my team on the chat box as well, and on Facebook Live. So please do follow those details. Around 800 people from around the world had registered for these different events, took their voices out, and 25 hours of virtual events in 1 week that were put together by the entire team along with all our valued partners during the entire week. With a focus on the future of education, with a focus on well-being, with a focus on peace, transitions in education, and I think most importantly, celebrating education with sustainable development goals. So we are very grateful. I think the words really can't express that gratitude to all our partners, our colleagues, who put together the entire engagement for everyone. Besides everyone who joined the sessions, every additional admit button on Zoom is an uplifting one. I can certainly say as the moderator of many of these calls that we saw in the past week, and we were again very humbled to be presenting ourselves and our work at the opening during the world tour of the festival as well. And again, we are excited to be joining the Learning Planet team for the closing ceremony that takes place at 4 p.m. CET as well. Ed will probably put the details in the chat for all of you. Now coming to just the last part, which is the Game Changers Awards and the youth. And that is something where a lot of us have heard over the week about why youth is not just the future but the present today. And I think our team, I can very proudly say, is a very youth led team. Sometimes I'm also confused for a 17-year-old by many teachers when I visit certain institutions. So I can also proudly count myself in that youth. And today we are celebrating the same role of young people through this Game Changers Awards. And I think it's very important to mention that one of the most magical one of the most magical connections that actually organically came up with the entire festival and the Game Changers Award especially was a conversation with Francois that followed after the opening ceremony, where he told me about a book he wrote, which the title of which translates into Game Changers. And we were blown away because we started this entire idea last year, and it came from again our associates who are going to be presenting the awards. And that connection of idea, of vision between generations, between institutions, between geographical boundaries, in so many different ways, is I think why I'm also excited that Francois will be speaking today at the closing. So, without wasting any further time, once again thanking all our partners, and I take this privilege to specially thank my next speaker, who's going to be coming today on the screen, Edward. He's one of the most inspiring people I've met in the whole year last year. And again, Ed is from Swindon, but he lives in Paris right now, and he's shuttling between the two countries, the UK and the France, and managing everything. So, and Ed, you've been again just very, very motivating. Thank you for that. And we also have Olivier, but Ed will be leading the floor now. So over to you, Ed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Keshav, for those wonderful words. Really, it's just such a privilege to be with you all here today, and to really got to know the Dais and your partners over the past. Just it's been 4 or 5 months, but I think from the first moment that we discussed at the end of August, I think we could see that there was a real shared commitment and dedication to really building an agenda that brings youth into decisions affecting their future, that really showcases the importance of learning for the SDGs as well. And it's just such an honor to be with you all on the call today. Just to give a bit of a picture of what we've experienced over this past week, what you've been a part of, been an instrumental part of as well. But you'll be hearing, I think, more later on from some of the youth participants as well in the sessions, and you will be able to get a bit of a picture of the festival in your own time too. But really, this festival, as Keshav said, simply was first set up to really make the case for celebrating learning to take care of oneself, others, and the planet around the International Day of Education. And so we just wanted always for this fundamentally to be a celebration, but secondly, to be an open celebration, bringing in organizations, whether it is institutions taking decisions on education, or whether it is organizations, NGOs on the ground, or youth, artists, entrepreneurs. We wanted this to be a fully open celebration so that anyone can propose an event under this banner. And so this year it's been incredible, really, to welcome over 400 events. And in fact, we're still trying to get the final number because, you know, it's a bit like a snowball. You see in local communities, people deciding, well, actually, yeah, I think this is something that we really need to celebrate. So we're getting a bit of a picture of that now over the coming days. But it's spanned 8 days, over 400 events, thousands of attendees, starting with youth empowerment, and really started with the Model UN sessions, welcoming over 100 delegates last weekend. Continuing on into the International Day of Education on Monday, was wonderful to have Keshav with us. Was also wonderful to celebrate yoga as a tool for change during the main program on the 24th. We had on the Tuesday a day focused on learning for sustainability, and some really exciting sessions bringing together inspiring on the ground case studies of where really learning for sustainability initiatives have been working. And so we will be sharing these outcomes with the festival community shortly, soon following the festival. We looked particularly on Wednesday at transitions in education, and really excited to move forward and develop our circle, our open collaborative circle with universities, entrepreneurs, students, researchers, looking at how we can really transform higher education to address the challenges of our times. And so we've got some really exciting outcomes from that that we'll be sharing as well in the closing later on today. On the Thursday, we explored new models for social change, and it was a real honour, particularly to welcome members of children parliaments across India. I will share this video and the details with Keshav because there are so many parallels with what you're doing. But it was a truly inspirational example of how young people are actively and impactfully taking a role in the local decision-making processes in local communities. Incredibly valuable initiative. And then yesterday we had a day focused on arts for education, which has led to the launch of another collaborative circle of arts organizations, activists, entrepreneurs, universities who really want to work together collaboratively on showcasing, mapping the best initiatives, examples of arts for education and impact in local communities and schools. And so we'll be sharing again details a bit more of that later on. And then we close today, but it really isn't a closing day for us. It's just the start. It's the next step. You'll see that we put that as the title really of the session later on today at 4 CET, where Keshav will be one of the wonderful speakers joining us, because we really see this as something that is only going to build and grow. We're really genuinely committed to following up, and there are so many opportunities, I think, to build further connections, further collaborations over the coming year, and to ensure that we're really bringing together people. We're really promoting this idea of collaboration, authentic collaboration, as an absolute key in order to build meaningful change in the world. And so we're really excited to be moving forward with that. And just the final word is just a huge, huge thank you to Keshav, to the whole of the Dais team. Your dedication to this initiative for the past 3-4 months and more has just been truly incredible, inspirational, and particularly as well, I think what's so clear is your desire from the very beginning to always bring other people on board. And this has been a wonderful way of getting to know as well Divya for the yoga festival. But I think that is something that it is only authentic, when you can see that in somebody, a true desire to bring other people on board, other organizations on board, share the platform. That really does mean something. And so we're really so appreciative and just so excited for the next steps coming ahead. So have a great celebration today, and look forward to continuing collaborating, learning from each other over the coming months ahead. Thanks, Keisha.
Thank you so much, Ed. I think a strong note that we can definitely take from this is the next steps again, where we should be, where we should be moving, and the couple of reflections that I also have from my end is that we got to co-create a teaching masterclass on SDGs with the Varkey Foundation, for instance, which was a Learning Planet partner who we got to collaborate with, like in the middle of the festival. So I think that's something that was very well received by educators around the world. We are launching two critical initiatives through this week. One was with the Earth Day Network. Again, I think Earth Day works on climate, preserving the earth. So that's a fellowship that we are also launching. We have actually launched already earlier this week for young people during this festival, and the same thing is with the Game Changers Awards. All these opportunities for us is just to provide the right platform, because I've been reflecting a lot about the whole youth empowerment idea. I think youth are very empowered, as well as women are very empowered. It's the ecosystems systems changes that need to be more accessible for this empowerment to be seen by everyone. Like I am lucky to have these opportunities. So thank you, Ed, and we can't wait. I think all the partners, everyone, to see how we can unfold our next steps towards on-ground impact. Thank you once again. Now we will be hearing from one of our mentors, our board of advisors, Mr. Nixon Joseph, sir. He is the CEO of the Children's Love Castle Trust, and I think today it's a very important day to be hearing from him because the first meeting Nixon sir and I had was at a UN Youth Awards function at the UN headquarters, the headquarters for the India region, and that's when we first met while he was the president of the SBI Foundation. And since then, he has been an absolute inspiration to us in guiding us with the youth initiatives, and he's also responsible for, what I think is one of the biggest youth fellowships that ever runs in the whole world on development, which is the Youth for India Fellowship, and that again, all of what he does is very very inspiring. So Nixon sir, the floor is all yours, and we are very grateful for you to join. Thank you.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone, and thank you, Keshav, for that introduction. It's always a matter of great pride and enthusiasm to attend an event organized by Dais. Because I find that this is one of the organizations which truly lives up to that SDG 17th goal of achieving sustainable development goals through partnership. And whenever I attend some event of the Dais, I find new partnerships blossoming and earlier partnerships growing to its zenith, and a lot of changes are happening. In fact, I would not hesitate to tell that Dais is one organization which has captured the spirit of sustainable development goals and is encouraging lot of youths, empowering lot of youths to become change makers. Today, when I have been invited to be part of this event, were Learning Planet Festival and also the launch of the second Dais Gamechangers Award. I'm very, very proud and also emotionally overwhelmed because I have always admired change makers. Change makers are making a huge difference in this world, where it is easy for all of us to remain in our comfort zone. Because change cannot come by remaining in comfort zone. And all these game changers whom we are going to honor today, or who are engaged by the Dais to be prospective change makers, all are coming out of their comfort zone. And we often know, we have heard many times, that growth happens outside the comfort zone. Everyone knows the world is not perfect. Everyone knows a country like India is not perfect. But if the country is not perfect, if the world is not perfect, who will repair it? Who has to work towards repairing this world to make it a better place to live? Who should work to make the earth a better planet? All of us who want change. But how many of us are willing to be change makers? Very, very few. I have seen so many change makers in India or various parts of the world who are revamping education, improving the health outcome, inventing new technologies, fighting to save the environment, and building powerful social movements. But the amount is very, very few. The number is very, very few. In India, we have 356 million youth between the age of 10 and 24 years. Unless many of them, all of them become change makers in some way, India cannot progress. India cannot live up to the SDG goal of leaving no one behind. And this is what organizations like the Dais are doing. And I feel very proud of associating with them because They're trying to make many more change makers. And today, as we award or launch the second Game Changers Award, we are actually recognizing change makers. We are actually recognizing those who came out of the comfort zone. We are actually recognizing those who were disciplined, determined to achieve the sustainable development goals in whatever way possible. And it is the young people who can bring change, who can help India achieve the SDGs, because they have creativity, they have energy, and they can see problems in a fresh perspective. In India, we don't want people who raise problems. We find that so many people are raising problems, but the challenge is in being part of the solution. And what change makers do is becoming part of the solution. They identify the problem, but then they also become part of the solution. Recently, I was in a board interviewing many youths for a fellowship program. So I asked a question. Is it the right time to join a rural fellowship program when the pandemic is at its peak? When the pandemic is spread everywhere, is it the right time to join the fellowship? I was asking a group of youngsters, educated youngsters, and I was inspired. I was amazed by the reply. Many of them gave that. We are fortunate enough to have got good education. We consider ourselves privileged to have got such education. Now it is a time for us to give back. And they responded, the answer was quite inspiring. They told, for giving back, there is no time. So there is no time to being a change maker. There is no appropriate time. Like tomorrow onwards, I will become a change maker, or I will become a change maker after 1 year. No. It has to happen now, and it is possible. You don't require the intelligence of Albert Einstein. You don't require, or you should be rich like Bill Gates or anything to bring change. To bring change or bring some change as per the sustainable development goals, only a heart of kindness is required. You have to be kind, you have to be caring, you can be a change maker. And this is what many youths are doing. Many youths are finding time in spite of their busy schedule to help the marginalized. I have seen many youths taking free tuition for those who cannot afford high-priced tuition. Many are trying to form social enterprises to provide livelihood to the marginalized. So a lot of changes are happening. This is happening because these youths have developed a sense of caring and kindness. And this is possible for every youth listening to me, every youth in any part of the world, they can become change makers. If you think you cannot become a change maker, I will just tell a story, very because of paucity of time, a very small story from my own personal experience. At the age of 45 years, I decided to become a marathon runner. That is full marathon runner, 42 kilometers. I was never into athletics, into sports and all. I decided that I have to change myself. I have to change and show a difference, because only if you are different, you inspire others. You do something different, you inspire others. The Change Makers or the Game Changer Awards will be given to those who are made a difference. And if you make a difference, you inspire others. Therefore, the Game Changer Award winners are those who are inspiring others and will be inspiring others also. So at the age of 45, I thought I should be different. I should inspire others. I thought I will do this long distance running of 42 kilometers. Many discouraged me. Many told me it's not possible. And this is what is going to happen when you want to be a change maker. There will be so many hurdles. So many people will discourage you. Many told me you will surrender after 5 kilometers. but I never gave up. I thought I have taken it upon myself. I will complete the 42 kilometers. So the first 42 kilometers marathon, it was a pain for me because that was my first one. Lot of hurdles on the way. I never gave up. It took me 6 hours, but I never gave up. I completed it. And after, when I got the finisher's medal, it gave me a message that if you are determined, you can achieve anything in life. To all the youths who are listening to me, I can only tell that we have to achieve sustainable development goals. If not, we are losing a golden opportunity. It is upon all of us, and especially the youth, to see that the sustainable development goals is achieved for India and for the world. Because this is the golden only opportunity for us to have a better world. And there is no time for it. Today onwards, now onwards, you can be a change maker. Only a mind of caring, kindness is required. And everyone is kind. Everyone is caring. Only we have to discover that potential. And what Dais and other organizations are doing is helping us to explore, discover that potential, that element of caring, that element of innovation, that element of spirit to bring a better future for mankind. That ability is in all of us, only it is waiting to be explored. And I'm sure that this Game Changers Award or the Learning Planet Festival, all these are opportunities provided for youth to be change makers, to explore their potential for the benefit of mankind. And when you do all this, it is not only a victory for yourself, it is also a triumph for humanity. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you so much, Nixon sir, and care, kindness, resilience, very important, I think, for us as human beings, uh, and as a society, we need it. As you said, youth have the central role towards achievement of the SDGs, which is exactly the vision for the Game Changers Awards also. So thank you, Nixon sir, once again for being with us. And like Vedika has mentioned on the chat, uh, I'm also very motivated, and I'm always motivated every time we hear you speak. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And I think it's important to also just take note of the Global Youth Council of the Learning Planet, which was formulated with that vision of getting these 18 young leaders on the platform, and we were very lucky to be collaborating with two of them, Karan and Almas, during the Model UN. And I know Almas will also be talking at the closing ceremony, presenting the Model UN today. So, along with all our colleagues, I think we are very proud of all the youth that we have been associated with. They have been truly inspiring leaders. On that note, I'm going to now hand over the floor to two of these inspiring leaders from our team at the Dais, who I've had the privilege to work alongside. That is Muskan and Sakshi, and they will be presenting to you the Game Changers Awards and taking over the moderation for the rest of the program. So, thank you, Sakshi and Muskan, for always inspiring us. And as a side note, I want to tell you that with the last year's International Day of Youth, when we started thinking about what to do, this was one of the key ideas that emerged out of that discussion, where Sakshi and Muskan were also instrumental in carrying the youth forum previously and this year as well. So thank you both of you, and over to you.
Hello and good evening to everyone present here. First of all, a very warm welcome and thank you to everyone who's here and for taking out time. We are highly influenced by what Nixon sir said, what Ed said. And without further ado, I will give the floor to my dear colleague Sakshi to move ahead with the Game Changers Awards.
Yes, thank you, Muskan, for that. Hello and a good day to everyone who has joined and from different parts of the world. I am Sakshi, an associate of the Dais, live from Osaka. And along with me is my colleague Muskan, who has joined us from Bangalore. We both heartily welcome you all at the launch of the Game Changers Awards 2022 in support of the International Youth Day observed on August 12th. The youth is an embodiment of boundless energy with creative ideas and innovation, as we have heard from the various eminent speakers. So as we move on to the year of 2022 and look around ourselves, it is essential for us to realize that there is a lot to do, a lot to renovate, and a lot to revolutionize towards a better, greener, and feminist future. And who else can we trust to do all of this if not the youth? The Dias firmly believes that the responsibility shouldered by the youth is of extreme importance, and their efforts and services in the field of development and growth have that game-changing spark to change things for the good. I think all of you must have heard a lot of people say, we need to get angry for the climate change, for the gender-based violence. We need to get angry for our nature, for all creatures. But the young people have translated their anger into action. The Dias is proud to know some of the influential young people closely. Last year, on the eve of Pride Month, that is 30th June, we commemorated the Dias Youth Forum, as you can see on the screen, an effort to drive exchange between young talents on topics of gender, education, and climate change. It was a month-long festival, a series of 2 dialogue webinars, several discussions on the Clubhouse, and Instagram Lives, concluding with the Dais Gamechangers Awards. And fast forward to 2022, we continue the celebration of the groundbreaking efforts with yet another award segment. Youth are not just the leaders of tomorrow, but also today. The Game Changers Awards focuses on awarding the youth for their work towards the cause of sustainable development goals. The vision of the awards is to act as a catalyst, encouraging the youth to drop their diffidence and create a sense of purpose to work towards achieving their goals systematically. This award is also a medium to recognize and aid such game changers and provide them with the resources and a platform to reach out to more prominent organizations and stakeholders. Now, without further ado, let me go through the objectives of these awards quickly. Our vision of bringing these awards is to motivate young people to achieve excellence in the field of social welfare, to encourage young people to develop a sense of responsibility to the community and kindle their sense of purpose as global citizens, to celebrate the outstanding work done by voluntary organizations working with the youth for national development. The awards are for cheering youth and their positive impact in different fields of development, ranging from health, research and innovation, culture, promotion of human rights, sports to smart learning. And at the end, to assert that kindness is still very powerful. So now I'll pass on the mic to Muskan to briefly tell you more about Game Changers Awards.
Thank you so much, Sakshi. I am sure that everybody here with us on the call is already messaging our team members for the application procedure. So the application forms for both the individuals and the organization will be available on the DICE website from the 5th of February. And the application round will be followed by with an interaction with the jury. So please get up to submit your applications. Now let's talk about who can apply. So who can apply is that any individual who ranges between the ages of 14 to 30 years as considered youth can apply. Any organization which is youth led, that the founders, the owners, the collaborators, the promoters are between the age of 14 to 30 can apply for the form. Now moving ahead, we will discuss a little bit about the category of the awards. So what are the categories where you can apply? First of all, COVID-19 Relief Work and Humanitarian Awards. COVID-19 has taken a huge chunk of our life within the past years and is still continuing to. But there have been gems of people who've spread the good between the COVID relief. And to us, we present our gratitude to these people. Anyone who's helped with medicine, food, has worked with animals, has worked with humans, has worked in delivery services. It's a gratitude to you. Thank you. And hence, we give the COVID-19 Relief Awards. Sustainable Development Goals, the emerging activists. I am proud to present that Dais has been working extremely forward towards the field of sustainable development goals. And for us, everyone and anyone who's contributing to any one of the 17 goals is important. And hence, the sustainable development goals, the emerging activists, we would love to acknowledge your work. Technology, the Young Innovators Awards. Technology has become fickle piece of instrument during this entire pandemic and even before that. And we have seen that anything and everything can be changed and shaped with a little piece of technology. So much has come forth. And we don't want anyone to go without acknowledgement. So, any piece, anything that you have designed, you feel will support in the development of the global planet, will support our earth, is forward. Literature and arts. The Young Artisan Awards and the Phoenix Awards. The Young Artisan Awards deals with people who work towards their creativity. They have put forth their creative foot forward. And we would love to acknowledge these people because art is equivalent to any academic, art is equivalent to any social service. Art can speak volumes. The Phoenix Awards deals with people who take their art to a next level, helping people, associating people, getting them to work out and understand their own feelings, their own cultural ideas. Community champions. Community champions are those people who brought forward an entire community of people with their wave of change. And I would be very happy to say that we have such award winners amongst us today. Established entrepreneurs and Hall of Fame. These awards are for the people who will be nominated by the jury and by the Dais organizations who've been working super hard for many years in the field of these awards and have tried to put the best foot forward for the youth and tried to create a change in the society. The Young Entrepreneur Awards. Nowadays, everybody wants to open a startup, everybody has a different idea, and some of these entrepreneurs kickstart very well. And this is our chance to recognize the Young Entrepreneurs Awards. So get up your applications from the 5th of February on the Dais website and please fill out for the following categories. Now, we move on to the next segment where we talk with a jury. We talk with our jury members. And our jury members for this year are Tejas Lakhani, who's associated with the culture of happiness, Miss Khyati Amlani, Miss Jasmine Susan Jose, and Sugyata Chaudhary. With us today, we have Miss Jasmine Susan Jose and Sugyata Chaudhary, who will be giving us the tips and tricks about how to go forward and fill out your applications, how to make a change and understand where we have to do what we have to do for the applications. Then we have our past winners, Ayan Banerjee, community champion, and Nashra Ahmed, the Phoenix Award winner, who will be telling us about their entire journey of watching forward and moving ahead. Then we have two of the most amazing youth leaders from an amazing team. The entire Learning Planet Festival would not have worked out if we would not have such amazing youth leaders. And our entire team, even though they cannot come on the screen, have an amazing representation by Arsha and Naisha. So now I would like to hand over to Sakshi to continue with the second segment.
All right. Thank you so much, Muskan, for that. So I'll go one by one. So first, we move on to our jury. We all know about Sugyata and Jasmine. So without further ado, I have some couple of questions for both of you. Sugyata, starting with you. You were a part of the jury during our first Game Changers. What are your expectations for this event?
Hi, hello, am I
Hi,
audible?
Sugyata.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today at this session. It was amazing listening to Nixon sir and of course about the Game Changers Awards for which I was associated with the Dice even last year. So so thank you very much. It was definitely a very good experience. It's a brilliant initiative by the Dice to recognize youth leaders and to recognize and uh, to to showcase to the world what are the important the kind of contributions that have been made by the youth today towards social change and innovation, etc. So definitely it was we had received some really interesting and very good entries last year also. Of course, two of them are with us today for the Community Champion Awards and the change makers. But what was common in all these applications is the impact that they have made for the society, the impact that the amount of the contribution and that the fact that they have touched so many lives by the incredible work that had been done. So that was something that really came out of the process of judging these awards. And I just like to say that that of course when we judge these the entries and what the contributions that are made by the change makers, it's very important for us to see certain things. Like of course, first is the impact that is made, and the scale of the impact that is made, and of course the kind of the depth of their contribution in the society. So it is not necessary. So this is something that really have been like these have been important pointers for us when we were judging these entries. But overall, like I even said last year, I think every single person who applies is a winner according to me, because just the fact that making social change and taking that initiative for making an impact or working for a cause or for the betterment of society is in itself something that really deserves an award. So yeah, so that is all from my side, and thank you again for having me today, and over to you.
Thank you, Sugyata. And just for all those who cannot read, who do not have the time to read the chat, I'll just give you a quick intro. Sugyata has been the founder of Longitude India, and she has been associated with a number of non-profit organizations. And thank you so much, Sugyata, for being here. And I will now introduce Jasmine, our Chief Operating Officer at the Dais. She has been a development expert working in the sector for over 12 years now, and her expertise is in the field of youth and women development. Jasmine, same question to you. What are your expectations for this event this time?
Thank you so much, Sakshi. And I would like to point out the things mentioned by my colleague Sugyata as well. When we talk about the awards, or what are we looking for as a criteria, one thing I would like to add is when you are working for an impact, not just the impact that you have made in terms of the numbers, but I think a personal impact and how much you have imbibed those values in your family and personal space also makes a difference. Because in today's time, when everything is quantified, it's all about numbers, numbers, numbers per se. It's easy to achieve numbers, but did you truly have an impact in terms of their creating changes in their mindset, people with whom you are working, the emotional aspect that you have touched, and above all, how far you have become human to understand those issues makes a lot of difference when you are applying. And not just what the previous impacts has been, but al- also in terms of what are your plans for going ahead. I mean, it's not some Filmfare award where you completed a film in a year and you receive an award for acting in that movie. I think when it comes to social impacts, it is a continuous process. It is a daily process that you need to look around, be observant of, and above all, being empathetic towards the needs of those whom you are serving. It's like Nixon sir said, and I think Ed also mentioned in his part, when we are talking about young leadership, too much time in today's world is spent by the youth on materialistic aspects of proving a target in terms of the degrees that they hold or the marks they achieve, that it's very few. And Nixon sir already mentioned the statistics that out of millions of youth, it's few who are able to move out of their comfort zones and create an impact in the society. But if you ask any youth, everyone wants a change, but who's willing to take that initiative to bring about the change? I think that is where the question lies. So my only expectation from this year's award is impact, not just in the past, impact in the future and what you're planning to do in your daily lives. And above all, what personal impact you had as a person in your lives, and what changes did it bring in your life and the community that you are living in, or let's say your immediate family. I think that matters a lot, because I'll just give an example. I know a couple of people, seniors, my seniors, with whom we were working on gender projects, and the ironical part of the situation was, while they promoted gender rights, they were the first people to not allow the housekeepers in their house to use the washrooms. And I was baffled by the fact. I mean, you talk about gender rights, you talk about empowering women, and you are the first one to stop the housekeepers coming into your house for work from using the washrooms in your house. So it's like ironical, you're talking something, you're not practicing what you're preaching. So as youth also, if you're talking about if you're talking about there has to be XYZ change in the community, it begins from you. Pointing out fingers is very easy, but how far you have walked the talk matters a lot. So that is what I'm looking forward to.
Thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful insight, Jasmine. And yeah, it was really surprising to know that. Anyway, you both have had such a great set of achievements. So I'll just go back to Sugyata again. And Sugyata, we all know that you are a lawyer, but only a few know that you're an artist yourself. So what do you think is the value of art in, say, accelerating our drive towards sustainability? How important is the role of art in your opinion?
Yeah. So art for me, of course, like you said, it is a passion for me and not really a profession. But scientifically speaking, so it is a fact that looking at something which is beautiful, it actually appeals to a portion in your brain which is called the medial orbitofrontal cortex, and that actually is an area of the human brain which really is responsible for these pleasure and reward uh, perceptions. So art really appeals to that portion of the brain. So for me, that is, of course, on the scientific side of it. But as far as when we talk about sustainable development, economic growth, or even social justice, inclusion, I think art really goes a long way in making that impact on the human brain. Because it appeals to that portion of the human brain which is very essential for anybody to drive social, to drive any sort of change, whether it's social change, whether it's any sort of change. So art to me, I mean, I'm sure, like even I'm sure most others would also be knowing the UN Day that happened was also kickstarted by a concert, and the theme for that concert was reimagine, rebalance, and restart. So I think what's also common in sustainable development goals and in art is also imagination. Imagination is something that drives social change, and it's a very essential ingredient of to make that change, to reach a goal which is imagined by us. And art also sort of correlates to that. So so I feel that art is a very powerful tool which can be used by change makers, by youth, by everybody around the world, even by governments to to drive inclusion, to drive social change, to drive innovation in that sense, and also to drive environmental sustainability. So, I mean, we've seen examples of people coming up with, art for cause, etc. There is Vicky Boatwright. There are many such artists and painters who have really created this, who've been really, they've been really instrumental in making these changes. So, I mean, I can go on and on about it, but the point being that, according to me, it's a very important creative force which is inherent in human nature, and the way it appeals to humans is something that will go a long way in making that impact that we really want to. So that is what I think about art.
Thank you so much, Sugyata, for that. Yes, creative energy is so important and it has so much power, really. And as much as that creative force is important, a positive reinforcement towards that force is also equally essential. So I would just go back to Jasmine and finally ask her that she has met so many people over the time in her 12 years of working at the grassroots, and she has been privileged to meet some of the brightest people that not every one of us can meet or can know. So I would just like to know her opinion about what is the importance of the celebration or a positive reinforcement, like I said before, like these awards for them as well as for the society.
I think, Sakshi, all of us present here, we remember when we used to have our exams coming up, our parents would say a line that if you get so and so grades, you will get so and so in return. So I think intrinsically that used to motivate us to work further. And I remember when the first Nirulas chain opened up in India, they had started promoting through schools that if you score above a certain percentage, you would get their famous Sundays free of cost, wherein they would stamp on your report card and you could show out. I think when as students, if those could be incentives to motivate us to work harder in our exams, recognizing the efforts of young people who are working towards change, it goes a long way to not just motivate them further, but also lead an example for others. Like, because as we all know that everyone prefers to be in the comfort zone. I mean, though if you ask me, if the temperature goes temperature drops beyond a level, we try to snuggle up in the blankets. We know we have a lot of task at hand, but we don't want to get out of that comfort zone. Similarly, if the weather outside is hot, we don't want to get out of our AC rooms. But then there are many young people whom I have met in my journey who have taken the pain and the initiative to actually overcome the obstacles, because when you're trying to bring about a change, the first obstacle that you will face is your immediate family. And especially if you're talking about a country like India, where a lot of things have to be changed even at the mindset level, dealing with your own families can be a major issue, be it in terms of the choice of career that you're planning to take up. So imagine if that is the kind of influence family has on your career. When you talk about working at the society level, which involves certain risks, the first person to deal with is your mom or dad. Yet there are many young people who have gone beyond it without those support as well. I'll give a very small example. We used to have, like Nixon sir also shared, we used to have a lot of students applying for foreign universities, and a part of the application process involved how much of community programs they had done, during their schooling years, or let's say during the internship. So we used to ask one question, that tomorrow there is an XYZ activity in the village. You will have to reach by XYZ time. This is what your task will be. Within those, we could easily identify people who are able to give up their comfort zones and people who are not willing to give up their comfort zones. And then, and the sad part was, these were students applying for sustainable development courses. So again, it brings us back to the point that when you recognize little initiatives, and let me be very clear, we are not talking about initiatives where at par with Oscars, or let's say the biggest, highest of awards. Little initiatives that you have taken in your own sphere, in your own capacity, yet led to a strong impact on others. And also where you can lead, where you have helped others to come forward and say, hey, this is something I would like to help you with to bring about a greater change. Those are the little efforts that we are looking forward to. So please, as I mentioned before also, focus on the quality of the work rather than the quantity or the quantifying numbers. In little initiatives that you have taken in your own sphere, whether it be as simple as providing the medicines required for the COVID patients who were locked up inside their homes, or going out in the community and doing and taking free tuition classes for young children. As simple as that, we are ready to recognize those efforts, and above all, move ahead with people who have come forward despite all the challenges. Because the day you move ahead despite of all the challenges, it is when your true potential comes out. So that is what we want to recognize.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. And I think we all as a team second that, like every of effort counts, every work is vital. And thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful insight, both of you. And now moving on, what is the time? I think it's time for us to talk to our past winners from 2021. I have Mr. Ayan Banerjee, the winner of Community Champions 2021, and Nashra Ahmed, the recipient of Phoenix Award 2021. Okay, so they have done some amazing, impressive work, and to put them into words is like a challenge itself, but I will try my best to kind of summarize it and give you an idea about the depth of work. Ayan Banerjee is a 19-year-old vegan climate activist who has been working to spread the idea of a cruelty-free, greener, and sustainable lifestyle. He is the PETA India's Volunteer of the Year 2020. He also ran 200 kilometers from Lucknow to Prayagraj to promote veganism, the idea of cruelty-free lifestyle, while visiting educational institutions, and has also been doing a virtual walk at home from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. He cycled 73 kilometers on Independence Day 2021 to voice out against plastic usage. Along with that, he has been working towards the mission through various organizations like Climate Save Movement. So very stoked to see you here, Ayan. Now, quickly, talking about Nashra. Nashra Ahmed is a researcher of cognitive and brain sciences and a music educator. Her research work lies in understanding how the human brain perceives music. So as Sugyata told, the power of art, she has, I think Nashra has done a great job in presenting her work in national and international conferences, taking art a step ahead, and has recently received a fellowship to continue her independent research work in music cognition at IIT Gandhinagar, India. Apart from being a researcher, she is also a very passionate musician who has had the honor to perform in the presence of the President of India. We are looking forward to listening to your melodious voice, Nashra. I quickly would apologize if I missed some parts of your amazing, amazing history, but we are really very grateful to have you both in this event. Now, since I'm done introducing you, I will have a bit of a chit chat. Ayan, starting with you, the last time we had you here was in August 2021. A new year has arrived and you're still working for the cause you're passionate for. And Ayan, tell me, like, how do you keep up with that drive? Like, how do you keep yourself determined to work for this cause, even when some days are harder than others, especially during COVID-19? Like, everybody is having that, fatigue. So, how do you keep going?
Hi, Sakshi, and hi everyone. It's a really honor, to be here today. And coming to the question, I would I recently learned about this at a public speaking class. So I heard just think about this. Can you can everyone imagine a moment where you make a mistake and no one has to pay for it? Just give it some time, like 10 seconds or 20 seconds. Like if you make a mistake, no one has to pay. You don't have to pay. No one has to pay the price for it, subconsciously or consciously. Definitely, if there are I would love to answer questions if you can put them on chat. But I feel that there is no situation where you make a mistake and no one pays for it. Like in some way or the other, someone has to pay for it, for the job you did not do or for the work you did not do. So losing is not an option then, right? Like COVID-19 happens, or if you're struggling or whatever happens, if you have been given a job or if you're trying to make a difference or anything like that, you can't make an issue. Like losing is not an option at all. Like you have to be you need to be that conscious that to understand and be objective about this, that someone will pay the price if you make a mistake. So you need to be as you need to have there's a standard of doing something, so you need to keep up with that standard. And if you're not able to, you need to go to therapy, or you need to be conscious enough to understand that if you go to the team, you will make mistake and someone will pay for it. You need to make amends with yourself and then be added to the team or something. But you need to be really conscious that if you make a mistake, someone will pay for it. So if I make a mistake and people are looking up to me or something like that, that will impact a lot of people. So if I stop working, they will think that oh my god, COVID can restrict someone, or yeah, COVID-19 is we can't work, or everyone will find excuses for that. Oh my god, I'm feeling sick or something like that. Then if you're feeling sick or you want to take a day off, the next day you should be working the double amount of time. Like you need to compensate or overcompensate for the work you missed or something like that, because you can't that that's what I would like to say.
Yes, the key is to be self-aware. Like that is the take, I think. And that is a very great message. I would say that, we need to be really self-aware and kind of analyze what we are doing and how much impactful that is if we see a larger picture. So thank you so much, Ayan, for that. And going to Nashra. So Nashra, you've been part of a research about understanding this interlink of music with the human brain. So keeping that in mind, make us understand your relationship with music, with the heart, and how are you going to kindle this interest this year? Do you have any particular plans to nurture interest and take it forward to a drive to sustainability? Nashra, over to you.
All right. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me here to speak in front of such a nice panel, and for encouraging youth like me and Ayan to, come forward and talk about what we do and basically represent youth. So so I think your question is really interesting, because as you said, I work on understanding how music is basically perceived by the human brain, or how music can influence our behavior as well. However, you asked me a very special question, which is how has that impacted me and my heart? So I think that's something which is which goes without saying. I mean, I share a connection with music, which is, I think we all do share some connection with something which cannot be materialized. Music is something like that for me. I have been a woman in STEM, and I have a bachelor's and master's and all of that. But what about that thing that I connected, with the most? And to have felt that the impact of it myself, I know that it can impact the life of others as well. And as Sugata, really, I mean, she said it out, that there is a huge impact of music on every not just music and art on everybody's life. And my work, where I find peace, is in understanding not just how music is being perceived by the brain, but also use it to basically make therapeutic basically results, and how it can be used, how those results, how my results in my research of understanding music and brain can be effective in therapy, and basically helping people with various difficulties and disabilities, helping special kids deal in their social environment and understand the basically empathize with different all other kids and people more, helping people with Parkinson's who have a difficulty in walking, and their gait issue where they can't step up, or they have tremors, to use basically rhythm, which is a part of music, and which I think is there everywhere, to be honest. So to use rhythm and to see its impact on how it can affect their lives through therapy is something which is very close to my heart. And when I am concerned, I have seen that happening in real life. I have seen music, the effect of music, and as Sugata pointed out, the frontal cortex, or just not just the frontal cortex, the entire brain is involved in the processing of music. When you're playing music, when you're singing or you're playing music, your auditory cortex, or your ear, the things that are the brain parts which are involved in your processing of your auditory or listening capacities, and also the motor capacities, which make you do actions, because when we are talking about rhythm, we are talking about movement as well. So, and then if you are playing something, you are observing different things, you're observing your instrument, that's your visual capacities as well. So that sort of includes the entire brain, and it's a full packed brain workout, I would say music is. And that thing can impact magically, I would say. Like, people do say that music has a magical effect on them, music does this, music does that, but does it do that? I mean, to scientifically understand them, to use my knowledge of neuroscience, or electroencephalography or pupillary dilation responses, to understand what it actually does, and to specify which aspect of it can actually help impact the life of others with specific difficulties. So that's something which is about my heart and research. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Nashra. I mean, you introduced us to some various, scientific vocabulary which I cannot catch on, but you are amazing. Like, you are working in STEM, and as you said, like, music strikes a chord in your heart. And just going back to what Ayan said, being self-aware, I think music plays a big role in being self-aware, as you mentioned. So yeah, we are very happy, and we are very grateful for both of you. So thank you so much for your insightful details on your experiences and in your work. So
Thank you so much.
thank you. So moving ahead, I will now invite a youth panelist from the dais. For that, I'm going to again call upon my colleague Muskan. So Muskan, here you go.
Thank you so much, Sakshi. It has been invigorating listening to our jury and our past winners. But no celebration is finished without thanking our entire team. So I will take this entire opportunity and Thank each and everyone on the Dais panel, on the Learning Planet Festival panel, and everyone who's been associated with us, all the young leaders, all the youth leaders, everyone in the MUN, everyone who participated, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you to the entire organizing team of the Dias who work day in and out. And I am so thankful for all of you for being here with us. And representing our amazing, amazing team, we have Naisha Khanna and Arshia Suhag. So Miss Naisha Khanna, who's with us, is very passionate and she's a youth leader who speaks about equality, gender equality, and voices her concerns against climate atrocities. And at the very same time, we have Miss Arsha Suhag, who's very passionate and is actively working towards upliftment of education and learning about poverty. So let's talk with them. I have two very important questions to you because you have been with us throughout the session, throughout the Learning Planet Festival, and interacted with everyone. So, what are your key takeaways from this entire festival? And what do you think that the young people should know about the SDGs and why it is important for them to really understand and contribute to the SDGs?
So I think I would like to start by thanking Muskan and Sakshi and the entire Dias team, particularly Keshav sir, for making this festival so memorable. It's been a privilege to work alongside you all, and I'm so grateful to be speaking here today among such brilliant individuals. In the course of the Learning Planet Festival, I've been able to closely witness the youth collective dialogues, the YLCA Fellowship Launch and Roundtable, and the Yoga Festival, which is why I'll answer primarily based on the insight I gained from these. Because if I were to summarize all that I have learned from the multifarious events, I would be at a loss for words. So, to address the first question regarding my takeaways, well, in this age where an atmosphere of disenchantment is pervasive, this festival has been like a breath of fresh air. It has reaffirmed my belief in the power of young people. And during the dialogues, I realized that hearing others' journeys is so important because it did ignite a spark in me, as I'm sure it did in all listening. So, what I take away from all these powerful stories is that we don't have to let adversity define us. To join hands and share our experiences with people across the globe, even virtually, can be a transformative experience for both the speaker and the listener. This event made me feel a profound sense of solidarity with people from several different walks of life. And it made me realize how learning can come from unexpected places, even from within ourselves when we look inward. It truly does give me hope that, in spite of the enormous set of challenges that we face, when we come together and even each perform a small task, a small act of leadership, it can create something meaningful. And I experienced this firsthand working on the festival. And I think the same thing can apply to the practical work we do towards creating a better world. To address the second part of your question, when it comes to my message for the youth, I want to begin by saying be compassionate. And I think in trying times like these, every action should stem from a place of compassion. And as we set out to perform any change, I think kindness and empathy should be the underlying guiding principles. We're now at a crucial juncture in our history, and our actions will have a decisive impact on the world and quality of life of future generations. Now, more than ever, is the time to be proactive. So let us ensure that the wonderful discourse we engage in does translate to actions. I have seen how deeply conscious young people are, people even younger than me are, about the flaws in our system. And I know that they can identify the ways to better ourselves and the world. And so I hope that we implement the innovative ideas we come up with. And there is no time better than now. So, as Greta Thunberg said, let us not only make empty words and promises. We can implement the ideas that we have. We can re envision the world around us. And there is no better time to start than now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naisha. Those were some very, very inspiring words, and I'm sure Greta will be proud of us for voicing her message. So, over to you, Arshia.
Yeah, so greetings to everyone present on this call. I'd like to start off by thanking the Dais for providing me with this valued platform. Throughout the Learning Planet Festival, I've had the pleasure of working across various projects, such as the Youth Forum for Education and Sustainability, the Model UN for the Youth, the Yoga Festival, and the Dialogue with the People of Impact for the role of industry in the future of education. As such, the events that I attended discussed themes ranging across education, sustainability, well-being, peace, and climate action. An aspect that I particularly appreciated was that the festival stayed true to its claim and represented people of all ages. I learned a lot, not only from established, accomplished professionals, but also from the students who participated. Accordingly, one of my key takeaways was the inclusivity of the festival, as it encompassed such different individuals. Everyone brings something to the table, and you have something to learn from each one of them. There was a quote I heard mentioned during the festival by one of the speakers that the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. I appreciated this holistic approach to education and learning. It was refreshing to attend discussions about how education goes beyond traditional schooling and pedagogy and also involves practical experience and skill center training. As a product and to a certain degree a victim of the current system, I particularly related to the dialogues concerning the problems associated with the pervasive education system. A lack of project-based learning, a lack of quality education, a lack of university seats, the gap between university education and the requirements of professional employment, and addressing the finer prevalent nuances in such institutions, such as the discrimination across gender, caste, and religion. Another theme I spotted across nearly all events was the urgency for climate action, which I believe is very fitting as it is an issue that affects us all. It was invigorating to already see some visible changes between the time I was a high school student and the current situation, as the students who took part in the festival were already familiar with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the urgency of climate action, and had accordingly started initiatives for the same. The time of the hour is now for human development and climate action, which is why the UN SDG goals for 2030 are so important to achieve. As for my message for the youth, in one particular event, I remember there was a discussion about how the content needs to be action and solution oriented. The same theme came up again yesterday when I got on a brief call with my colleague Naisha, that merely having theoretical discussions isn't enough. We need to practice what we preach and get out there to make a difference. So to the youth, I say this, be proactive. Don't be frightened of testing new waters. There is no such thing as failure. Remember to get out of your comfort zone. We only regret the actions we did not take. I'd also recommend finding something you're passionate about so that you enjoy what you do and don't get burnt out. On a similar note, the Learning Planet Festival had the slogan, learning to take care of oneself, others, and the planet. I've already talked about how taking care of others and the planet is important. I'd also like to mention the importance of taking care of oneself. The festival truly encompassed such acts of self-service along with service for others. The Yoga Festival primarily targeted this theme, and I'd like to thank the Learning Planet Festival for taking note of such a point that's often forgotten. I'd like to end with this. Remember to treat yourself kindly. As long as you're trying your best, no matter where you are in life or how much you've achieved, I'm proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arshia. Those were some very, very inspiring words. And thank you so much, Naisha. It is our pleasure and from our end that we encourage and we wish to empower everyone here towards happiness, towards believing in yourself and towards understanding yourself. And once you do that, you can understand people around you and the planet. And with that, we've come to the end of the Learning Planet Festival. But it's not merely the end, we're moving forward. Over to you, Sakshi.
I think you stole my words, Muskan. Yes, exactly what Muskan said. It's not the last event, it's the beginning to something really wonderful ahead. So thank you so much for everyone who's present here. I would now like to pass the mic to Keshav. Keshav, over to you.
Thank you so much. all of you. I think I'm quite moved, as you can see, with everything that you have said and all the learnings that you have all derived. I think I've been inspired by each of you, just observing how everyone carried yourselves. We had, I think, 5 COVID infections in the team while the whole festival was on, and I can say the same. Ed is also down with COVID, so I know how well all of you did, and I think you're all really the game changers that we are hunting for the rest of this next 7 months with the entire festival. And I have taken due note, as I know the Learning Planet team as well, of the actionable points and the way forward. And I think on that note, we are just so lucky to be closing this first circle, which started with Mr. Francois Teddy as our opening speaker at the Model UN, to him being our closing speaker at the festival, that and to tell us about the next steps, uh, as the Learning Planet has a very big vision, I know, for the future, and we are very proud as the Dais to be a small part of that. So thank you for this opportunity, Francois, and to all the Learning Planet team, Ed, Olivier, and I'd love to, now we'll be hearing from Mr. Francois.
Thank you so much. It's so impressive, so inspiring. Everything that you've been doing throughout the week and what I could listen to. I'm so privileged to be with you today, and so inspired by everything that you've been doing. I think indeed, we are very close with many of the partners of the Learning Planet by construction, but especially with the Dais. And I think that your commitment to the youth, to making them as empowered as possible and make them not only as change maker but as game changer. And I think there is an interesting difference between the two. I think a change maker is someone that contributes to the change at his level or her level, and that's good enough. And of course, we want everyone to be a change maker, like Ashoka was saying. But I think game changing is even more interesting, because game changing means that you've been changing the rules of the game. And if you change the rules of the games, then, instead of competing for yesterday's knowledge, which is, the dominant school game, the dominant education game, and, instead of competing for extracting and exploiting ever more resources from nature, which is more or less the economic game, if you change the game, you can completely change our future. Because our current future, we are playing a game that is perverse enough that we will all lose at the end of this game. So obviously we have to change the game. And so identifying, game changer is absolutely key. And I think not only we have to identify them, we have to learn from them. They are so inspiring. And we have to make sure that everyone can learn from them. So that they could be ever more game changer, because there is so many dimensions of the game that we have to change, from the very personal and intimate games that we play to ourselves, to the game we play with each other, to the game we play in a school or in a local place or in a company or into a nation or at the global level. Okay, and so we have to change all those games in a fractal way. So, lots of people say think global and act local. I think we have to think fractal and act viral. And so we have to document at every scale what are the best way to change the games. And we have to make sure that those game-changing solutions are documented and shareable so that everyone can use them wherever they are, and they can adapt them to their local circumstances. So that's, for me, a key dimensions, and one of the reasons I think why we resonate so much with your initiatives and what you've been achieving, not only this week, but throughout years and years, and we look forward to collaborating even more on this. So one of the ways to change the game, especially for young people, is to change the education game. So what if we co-created together diplomats, for instance, okay, for game changers, okay? So instead of doing the classical diploma, what if your expertise and engagement could go hand in hand? Can we create such diplomas? We're currently discussing with different universities across the globe how to do this. And I think that as soon as there is at least one university doing it and doing it well, everyone will want to join it. And then all the others will have to start doing something different. So I think that's quite important. And one way to build a global movement is maybe to hack what sports has done. Sports has built sports Olympiads, and they have been very impactful very quickly. And you probably know that there is mathematics Olympiads and computer science Olympiads and physics Olympiads and the like, but they are very competitive sort of Olympiads, and it's mostly very individualistic and behavior on yesterday knowledge. What if we had cooperative Olympiads around sustainability issues, where we're all invited to cooperate to solve the local dimensions and start from, you know, whatever are the local context and the local challenges, and document the solutions that have been designed by this game changer, and invite them to document it and share it and learn from each other and recombine each other's solutions, so that we can progressively go from, you know, local solutions to progressively global ones. And so that's the sort of game changing that we would love to see. And I think that's part of the next step for the Learning Planet, and we'll be super enthusiastic at the idea of co-designing some of those next steps together with you and your communities, and making sure that, you know, this corresponds to the needs of this generation that we heard today, that is so impressive in their will to make a difference. You know, when I was your age, I was very far from, you know, being able to do 1% of what we heard today. And so I'm very impressed, and, you know, everything that we could do to help would be a privilege. And so I really look forward to the next steps. And maybe I'll end with a quote by an 18-year-old that maybe you've heard of, because it's called Pierre Curie. And Pierre Curie, when he was a little older, married Marie Curie, and together they got Nobel Prize, and even their children got Nobel Prize. So Pierre Curie, when he was 18, said that what matters to have a meaningful life is to make one's life a dream and one's dreams a reality. And I really think that's, you know, that's very close to what I heard today. You know, you have this ability. You know, maybe you didn't know that sentence, but I think that's what you do. And I think that what we could aim for together is to make sure that this could be done by everyone. And, you know, technology could be very helpful. You know, one of the things that we are dreaming of is to build a GPS of dreams, so that people can document their dreams and identify each other's dream. And maybe, you know, you build a sort of a Tinder of dreams, where you join forces with people that share similar dreams, so that you're more likely to do what Pierre Curie was saying, and you can make your dream come true, because it's so much easier if you have global dreams. You know, they won't come true unless, you know, there is a global movement of people that join your dream. So thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Thanks for having quoted the book. You know, if some of you want to read it, it's available online. Maybe Ed can share it, and you know, we'll be very happy to discuss, because the book name Game Changing is really very close to what you want, and it's discussing some of these ideas that are very much about GPS of dreams and game changing at all scales. And you know, I was very touched also by what you all said about caring. And I think, you know, care and compassion, I don't know in India, but in the Western education, they are out of the scope. Okay, and that's, you know, something which, you know, is nearly a crime for me, especially in this day and time. And so we have to make sure that, you know, care and compassion are the very heart. And you know, the last book I was reading last night is a book co-authored by Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, two Nobel Prize winners, and I'm sure you know. It's called The Book of Joy. And I guess, you know, this should be the book that should be available in every school, and we should be learning from, you know, such key figures. And I think, you know, personally, they are part of my open pantheon. You know, we all have a personal pantheon. You know, the religious people have, you know, a specific type of pantheon. The French Republic has its own pantheon, but I think we all have our own pantheons of inspiring figures, and that's, you know, one of the chapters of the book. And so I encourage you to reflect on who is in your pantheon, and then, you know, climb on the shoulders of those inspiring figures to see even further, to dream even bigger. and maybe you're not the only one on those shoulders, and so maybe together you can start making your dreams come true and come all together to do these sorts of things. So those are some of the ideas that are being discussed in this book, and that will be trying to push forward, because for me they are all very complementary. They're all about inspiring and empowering the learner so that they can contribute to make their dreams come true, and help all of us to live in a planet that becomes a sustainable planet. Thank you so much for your invitation, and congratulations. I'm so again inspired by everything that you've been doing.
Thank you so much, Francois, for everything you shared. I think some really key takeaways. I know that our team is hearing this, our partners are hearing this, and we are all really excited to regroup after the festival together to take these actionable sort of directions. I think listening to you reminds me of something very like once upon a time for me when I was very scared, anxious. I think a 14-year-old who had to recite a debate the next day in school, and I had a friend of mine who was basically in his university days, and I said, I can't do this tomorrow. Like I can't do this at all. I will definitely mess up and I will say some wrong words. People will laugh at me for all of this. And he said to me that when you will step on the dais, the stage, you are metaphorically above everyone else. You will have a podium behind which you can hide your legs from trembling. And don't worry, you've got this. And even if you mess it up, there will be the 90 seconds of your speaker time that no one can take away from you. And I think that for me was a breakthrough moment of learning, which led to the naming of our organization as the Dais, where that's what we set out to do from 7 years ago now, exactly this month. And listening to you, Francois, again reminds me when you said the pantheon of bridging these. One thing that we see when we see the roots of our entire planet, I know it's very naive of me to make this comment in front of an evolutionary biologist such as Francois, but is that the roots are connecting and they hold on to each other. And that's how our soil got formulated. Uh, all the fish from the oceans from millions of years ago, all their waste material led to the white sand beaches, and all the life has led us to this moment together, where we see the impact of millions of years of life leading to us here. And I think one question that I always have since when I found this out was again, what impact will I be leaving today, 100 years from now, millions years when humanity will probably may not exist? And is that the right kind of impact? Is it something that's worth being a human being? And that is where we, I think, would like to commit ourselves again, once again, express our deepest commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals and to the vision of the Learning Planet Institute and the community. And I think signing off after an incredible, unreal, magical week of events, this I think completes a big chapter, which is now leading us to the next chapter, where we will be back with action points, our climate action fellowship with Earth Day. And we were so happy to witness the association of the Learning Planet Institute, the community, with Earth Day during the festival with the sustainability track, where our fellowship is also going to be moving, the Gamechangers Awards, where I see a bridge between the International Day of Youth and the International Day of Education into August. So, like the seasons, we will keep evolving and we will keep focusing. And thank you to all our partners once again for every kind of support, whether you've been here with us or the messages that we can do this or the last minute calls. To all our partners who've really been absolutely amazing, cooperative through this tough time of the pandemic. And I know I can say the same for all 250 partners of the entire Learning Planet festival this year. And it's nothing short of a sheer learning experience. So Once again, thank you so much. And 5th of February, Game Changers Awards are going to be live on the Dais website, and we will be sharing all the details. So thank you once again to everyone. And here is us signing off. Please join us at 4 p.m. CET for the closing of the Learning Planet Festival hosted by the Learning Planet Institute. I will also be getting this incredible opportunity to speak alongside some incredible partners who've also led similar inspiring efforts during the entire time. So Ed has already posted the link on the chat. Please do join in, and can't wait for the next year's festival planning to begin and for all the plans to now unfold. Thank you once again. Thank you.